Good evening, I'm Andrea Anderson.
And I'm Cordell Wright. The U.S. Supreme Court has upheld a federal law regarding the placement of Native American children in foster care. The Indian Child Welfare Act, or ICWA, directs the placement of children with extended family on the reservation, or at least with any Native American.
I-Team reporter Beth Warden describes how this ruling is considered a win for tribes across the nation and here in South Dakota too.
Today is a watershed moment. None of us could predict how it would turn out, and we've been on pins and needles.
A sigh of relief is sweeping across sovereign nations located within the United States.
A big deal, not only just to South Dakota, but the entire United States. Well over 500 tribes participated in one form or another, including the Flanders-Santee Sioux tribe and I think 7 of the other 9 tribes in South Dakota.
ICWA established a protocol to reverse a concerning trend.
Prior to 1978, when Senator Aberesk worked on the Senate Indian Affairs Committee to pass this, there's another South Dakota connection there. The 25 to 35% of Indian children being taken off the reservation away from families.
Some children were taken from their homes due to misunderstandings.
How tribal families looked, it didn't look like their typical household, so they would consider that basically to be wrong or there's an issue here, and really there wasn't.
And here's another misunderstanding. African, Asian, and Native American newborns may be born with Mongolian spots, a birthmark that looks like a bruise. Parents have lost custody of their children over the marks. Those who have been watching the case hope the confirmation will strengthen South Dakota judicial decisions.
First of all, we have to celebrate that. But second of all, this is just a baseline. 750 Indian kids in South Dakota being taken. And out of those 750, 90% are being placed outside of Indian homes. We've seen time and time again in South Dakota, for instance, state judges knowingly and willfully violate that federal command and have to be admonished for it by a federal judge. This happened in Rapid City.
And hopefully this now provides some clarity to not just federal courts across the country, but we can now take this and apply it on the state level so that it's an easier framework to work with for judges and attorneys across the state.
The goal of the law is to provide a wholeness to a child by staying immersed in a way of life they already know.
When kids are actually kept within their communities, they still have an opportunity to participate in cultural events, learn traditions, and be a part of their families, even if they're extended families.
In Sioux Falls, Beth Warden, Dakota News Now.
The South Dakota ACLU, Democratic Party, and Representative Perry Poirier provided statements praising the Supreme Court's decision. We also reached out to the South Dakota Department of Social Services. Their information officer indicated any comment on this decision would come from the governor's office.